didn't know whether to put this as vlog or RFM. I don't think it's been long enough to count it as remembering forgotten memories, so I'm just putting it in the vlog section. And yeah, I apologize for what a hot mess I look like today, but again, about a week of sleep deprivation. At this point, my eyes are not even focusing. So it's like the glasses had to go on. I hate my glasses. And the hair is gross, so it's under the sparkly kerchiefy thing. So that. Anyways. So you may have noticed the title of this video is my rebirthday. Not my birthday. My birthday was back in January. No, I don't mean baptismal day. That I had as a baby, and I honestly don't know when that was. I want to say April at some time. I honestly don't know. No. My rebirthday, which in a way also a rebirth, as the name implies. But fair warning going in, we're gonna touch on some dark themes here. If you're easily set off by that sort of stuff, you might want to skip this video. If you're in a bad mental place, use your own discretion whether or not you want to watch this content right now, because we're going there and talking about something that happened last year that I kind of didn't really want to talk about on the channel back when it happened. I mentioned it through comments to a few people at the time, and that was about it. So, last year around this time, day or two prior to this day, last year at this time, I uploaded a video calling Life with Bipolar Isn't Pretty. And in that video, I was kind of in the midst of a meltdown, and put it out there that no, I'm not suicidal right now, don't worry about me. And at the moment that I said it, that was true. Little did I know that a day or two later, that would change very, very quickly, and that is kind of what makes bipolar so frustrating. And yes, I know that's more of hot mess. One hand painted, one not, because you've seen the tragic mess they were yesterday. But anyway, back on topic. So, with bipolar, you go into manic phases where you feel like you're on drugs practically. You can't sleep, you can't focus, you just have to be doing something nonstop, and just, you feel like you're on uppers. Like, let's just, to not mince words. Yeah. And then, depending how high up this mountain you've gone, you're gonna come down careening down the other side, and the higher that high was, the harder you're gonna fall, and the faster you're gonna fall. And I mean, I've had bipolar my whole life, but once I was out of my teens, I more or less got to where I could generally, I mean, it would suck when these periods would happen, because about every 6 months I go through this to some degree, but not to the point where I'd try to do anything about it anymore. All throughout my teens, I mean, the cringy notebooks video is proof. And how many suicide notes did we find in those? Yeah, that speaks volumes. But yeah, once I was out of my teens, that stuff mostly stopped. I mean, I still had some self-injury habits that would crop up now and then, but usually that was about the worst that the depressive episodes would get with the bipolar was. I mean, we're going there anyway, so I'm not even gonna try and hide it, but I mean, I've been a cutter in the past, on and off. Not on my wrists, because I know you're like, but there's no scar. Yeah, it's on my legs. But anyway, that's usually been about the worst that it would go into, and then I'd snap out of it, because while I do have bipolar, I tend to have rapid cycle bipolar. Like, some people will drag out for weeks or months for each part of it. For me, it happens in a matter of days, sometimes in a matter of hours. And while some might think that's mood swings, no. It is way more intense than any mood swing could ever be. Like, holy crap. And the last time I had one that went this far, I think I was definitely still in my teens. I might have been like 19 or some shit. Until last year. And that was what made it so scary, was, oh my god, I haven't had one this bad in that long. What the hell is going on? And I know for me, part of it is a hormonal aspect of it. Whenever my hormones are really, really, really far out of whack, my mental health tends to suffer for it. Like, all of a sudden, oh, no periods for 3 months, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, I am, like, suicidally depressed, you know? Like, they tend to go hand in hand. And the timing of when I started having those kind of urges started was, oh yeah, around the time I hit puberty, so there is absolutely a hormonal component to it. I mean, I had the depression my whole life, but not to that extreme until then. But, so fast forward again to last year, and I was still in the going up the hill part when I made that video, but I was right about at the peak of it. I was just starting to teeter over the edge, and I think I even acknowledged it in the video that I could feel myself starting to teeter over the edge and that it was scaring me, because I was like, for how high this one is, I think I'm gonna fall pretty hard this time, and I think that was some sort of subconscious cry for help. Although, again, I didn't know I was gonna get suicidal from it. Like, enough to act on it. And 2 days later, I went from still being in manic phase, and I mean, I was outside, I was deadheading flowers, I was being productive, and then it hit. And it hit hard, and I went careening upstairs and felt like I was out of my goddamn mind. It was like barely anything tipped me over the edge. I forget what even was the trigger, but it was like, in hindsight, at the time, I remember being like, what the fuck? That shouldn't have even, like, bothered me much. Wow, okay. But that's the nature of mental illness, guys. It doesn't always make sense. But, I went careening upstairs. I locked myself in my room, and initially I did self-harm all over my legs. Pretty badly. Like, typically, in the past when I've done it, it's only been on my upper legs, where I feel no one's ever gonna see that, because no one ever sees there. But, oh no, I went all up and down the entire length of them this day. And that did not satisfy the urges whatsoever. And I decided, this is it. I'm going for the most deliberate way possible. I tried to hang myself that day, and obviously I failed because I'm still here, but, this nervous smile, I know, inappropriate timing, but yeah, just saying it out loud is hard, but, I had never done that mode before. I've tried to OD on pills before, I've tried to bleed myself out before, and obviously failed at that too. Tried to drown myself, tried to suffocate myself. I think those are the main ones that I've actually tried. Others have crossed my mind in these fits before, but not actually done them, but usually it's just been try to OD. Oh, tried to drink myself to death, there was that too. But I guess that goes hand in hand with OD. But no, this was the one and only time I ever tried to hang myself, because I figured there's no backpedaling from this one. This one is dummy proof. There is no failure. Once I do it, it's done. We live in a house where the ceilings and the walls are made of drywall. This little dumb shit tried to hang herself from a light fixture. Don't do that. Well, I mean, don't try to hang yourself in general, but, especially don't do that. Because it ripped out of the fucking ceiling, made a big ol' friggin' hole. All I did was fall down, and then be on the hook to pay for the repairs. Yeah. Not my finest moment. But in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that I failed. Because when you get into suicidal mode, it's not really about wanting to die, really. It's you're just hurting that badly to where you've run out of resources for coping and you don't see another option, and you feel like that is literally the only way to make the pain stop is to die. The worst part about that day, but the worst part that also ended up being the silver lining turning point, my dad didn't even care. He literally did not even care. I mean, other than saying that I'd be paying for those repairs, but he didn't care. He didn't think that it was important enough to, like, send me to a psych ward or anything. No. Did not even give a shit. Did not ask if I was okay. Did not ask if I needed help. No. He, like, literally went and Googled suicide crisis helpline on a post-it note, like, opened the door to my room, chucked it in, closed the door. That was the closest he did to caring that day. And I called that number. Figured, may as well, what's the worst is gonna happen? And then felt like a bigger failure because even the person on the other end of the line didn't know what to say to me. Like, I could tell they were reading off a script and they freaking ran out of shit to say to me. I was like, wow, I'm so screwed up that even the suicide hotline doesn't know how to help me. There is just no helping me. Which made me feel even more bleak and more helpless. So at that point I was just kind of in my pit of despair, just everything, and feeling like such a big failure that I can't even kill myself, right? But, the crises passed, and as the black veil, as I like to refer to it as, began to lift, and I started to be able to think cognitively again, and think clearly again, and realized just how fucked up it was that even my own dad wouldn't care if I died. Just like, literally no one on this planet cares about me. No one. Fucking no one. I have pushed everyone away from me. No one cares. No one would care if I died either. So, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do the ultimate act of defiance. I'm gonna care about me. And that was the turning point. Because if nothing else can be said about me, I am the most stubborn little shit on the face of the planet. And I'm also the most defiant one, for that matter, too. So it's like, well, if no one else is gonna care, I'm gonna care. And I'm gonna force myself to learn to like me, because in my entire life, I have had, like, literally zero self-esteem. Nada. And part of that is being beaten down into my psyche from both of my parents anytime that I would have any, like, the tiniest inkling, shred of self-confidence trying to flicker through. They would beat it down and say, no, you're just being full of yourself. There's nothing likable about you. It's like, wow, in hindsight, that's really fucked up, saying that to a little tiny kid. And it's why all of my siblings all have this same issue with just zero self-esteem, because we had it beat into our brains from pretty much birth onward that don't like yourself because you're being selfish if you like yourself. That is such an unhealthy way of thinking. But then looking at relatives and shit, it's like, oh my god, they all think like that. Every single one of them. That's really sick. I mean, I know I'm mentally ill, but that's really sick. And to keep perpetuating it for generation after generation, that's even more sick. But, I'm not gonna cry. And I swear, I'm, like, actually okay. Just, it happens to be the 1-year anniversary, so it feels like it's an appropriate time to talk about this. So, I'm just gathering my thoughts. So, as somebody who has never liked anything at all about herself, the conscious decision that I would learn to like myself seemed like an impossibly tall order in the moment that I made that decision. and wasn't quite sure how exactly am I gonna do that. And I literally took a long, hard look in the mirror. Like, I actually went and stood in front of the mirror. Like, this is not just a catch term. Like, I actually stood there and just wept uncontrollably that, yeah, there is absolutely nothing about me that I like, and that's not normal, and had enough just consciousness to know that that's not a normal thing, and the way that our family has always treated that is not normal. So I went through and I grabbed a notebook and I made a list of all the things I don't like about myself. This thing went on for 8 pages, front and back. 3 rows apiece. Or 3 columns apiece, I should say. So, just saying, for as shitty as haters on this channel may be, there is absolutely nothing you could say to me that is worse than things I've already said to myself in my head. So, regardless, so I'm looking at this list and realizing how superficial half of this shit is, but also thinking how many of these things really apply to me as a human being. And then taking another hard look in the mirror and realizing I don't feel like I even recognize myself anymore. I don't feel like me. I haven't felt like me in many years. And then I gave it a long, hard think of why is that? Why is that? When is the last time I felt like me? And that the answer to that question lied in before I started dating. And I thought about it. Every single person I have ever dated has expected me to change aspects of myself to fit some sort of ideal that they wanted that I could never live up to. And I would internalize it so hard that even long after that person was out of my life, I still had that ingrained in my head that that's something I need to be for the next person. And eventually accumulated so many of these things and tamped down so many pieces of myself to where it's like, I legitimately don't recognize who the hell I am anymore. What the fuck? That is really screwed up. So I started going through and making a list of, alright, another list. Again, if there's nothing else that can be said for me, I am a list lover. So, and start making lists of person by person that I have ever dated. What have I changed about myself for that person? What have I tamped down about me because of that person? This ended up even longer than the list of shit I don't like about myself. Then once that list was complete, I compared that list to the list of things I don't like about myself and saw an awful lot of overlap. An awful lot of overlap. And then started realizing that even the ones that don't overlap, a lot of the ones that are on that first list are a direct result of the shit that came from the second list. So I'm like, okay, I have a starting point now. It may not be like all-inclusive, but it is a starting point to work from in how to get down to my roots, back to basics, back to trying to get to the root of who the hell am I at my base. Learn to like that person, not the person you are right now that's just an amalgamation of all the shit that all these people wanted you to be. No, that's not you, apparently. That's not you. Maybe there's a couple things here and there that have become you, but most of them are not you. So, alright, fine. So I start stripping away all the bullshit and finally giving myself permission to let go of all of those things that there is literally, like, even at the time when I was dating those people, there's no point in me changing into those things for those people in the first place anyway. But especially with them not even being so much as someone I even still talk to at this point in my life. Why the hell am I still trying to live up to those ideals? There is no point. Throw them out. Throw them the hell out. So, alright. And that took a few months to really, like, grasp my head around and really, like, start giving myself the permission to let go of all that shit. But I did. And then I made another list. Because again, that just, I don't know if that's my friggin' autism speaking or what, but just, I need order. So I made another list of what are the things that I personally, truly, in my life, from birth up to the point where I started dating, did I truly enjoy, that made me happy, that made me feel like I had defining things about me. And the whole time that I was doing that list, I was battling with these feelings of, oh my god, you're being so selfish, you're being so full of yourself right now. And it was just parroting back all the shit that I heard my parents say to me, like, my whole childhood. So pretty much like shielding those thoughts back with a sword, like, no, back, I say, back. Stop it. Just leave me alone. But, just long enough to at least get through this list. And I knew that some of the things that would end up on that list, obviously, I'm past a point where I've, like, just outgrown them because age, but other ones, a lot of them, are absolutely still relevant, and I had lost sight of them for so many years. And it was like, oh my god, I literally just let these things slip through my fingertips because people I dated told me that I sucked and there's no point in doing that thing because you suck. Which is like, why the fuck did I date these people? Like, what the hell? And also, in this journey, figured out the one thing that every person I've ever dated has had in common is I'm pretty sure every single one of them classifies as a narcissist. And I'm sure there's at least a couple of them watching this. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, I know at least one's probably gonna go flying up to this house and, like, yell at me for it, but you know what? Dude, it applies, whether you see it or not. So anyways. So I had this list. I had 3 lists now to work with in front of me. The saddest part? That 3rd list was the shortest one. I was like, that's so sad, but I was like, you know what, no. Sad though it may be, again, it gives me something to work with, though. So I started going through that list, and one by one started reincorporating the things on that list into my life, seeing which ones still resonate with me to this day. And which ones, okay, I can let go of it because I've obviously outgrown it. I can let go of that. That's okay. But the grand majority of them still applied. And this is where early last year, I started drawing again. And I started playing music again. And for the first time since I was 15, this almost is making me cry just that it had been that long. First time since I was 15, I started to feel like me again. And that's really sad, that things that mean that much to me, even if I'm not that good at them, but they still mean that much to me on a deep, deep level, that I had buried those things just because I was that desperate for somebody to like me. Yeah. Yeah. That is pitiful, but them's the breaks. So, because all these people that I would surround myself with, they could do those things, and they could do them millions of times better than me and run circles around me, and this is why they had no problem telling me I sucked and that there's no point in me even trying to do those things. Yeah, that. But, there was other things on the list too, but those were the big ones that resonated more than anything, that I found the most contentment with, that I found the most peace with, that just felt like they were nourishing my soul. Like, that sounds so stupid and so cheesy, and I don't know how to articulate it into words really better than that. But it does. It means that much to me. even if it's not something I'll ever probably be able to make a career out of, because I'm not that good, but it's that fulfilling to me to where it's not an option. I need to do these things, if for nothing else than just for my own sanity. Apparently I need to do them. So artistic outlets, they are a big fucking deal to me. Because thinking about just the way I was brought up and how isolated I was, these often were the only outlets I had. Period. On any level. Because not being allowed to have friends because of shit they were trying to hide in the family, and just being so isolated, not having much money to work with growing up, just there weren't a whole lot of options, so I made do with what I had, and I clung to those things for dear freaking life. And it makes sense that in a period where I felt so low, that I would cling to those things again. It's just like, okay, these are things that I need to not lose sight of again. I need to keep them in my life. Again, even if only as a hobby, I really, for me, I need to keep them in my life. So, yeah, that was a thing. And as I clung to these things and started just indulging them and getting back into a habit of making them a daily thing, I realized, you know what? Those people who told me that I sucked so bad, they can go eat a bowl of dicks. I don't suck that bad. I mean, I'm not great. I won't claim to be some amazing artist, but you know what? I don't suck as that bad as they made me feel like I did. And that thought there was the first time I have ever felt any amount of self-confidence in my entire life. And it felt good. I'm tearing up that it took me 32 years to ever feel confident in anything in my life, but I finally did. It was like, okay, that right there, that's proof that what I'm doing, I'm on the right path. It may not be the path much taken, it may not be the clear-cut one, but if it works for me, that's what matters. That's all I care about, is that it works. So, alright. So, whatever I'm doing, it seems to be working. I'm gonna go with that. So I kept going with it. And slowly over time, and I like nipped those thoughts in the bud of those voices coming back to haunt me. Not like physical voices, I'm not schizo. I'm bipolar, I'm not schizo. But I mean just people in the past who said shit to me, like coming back in my consciousness, basically. But as those nagging little thoughts would come back to me, I'd try to nip them in the bud, be like, no, and I would try to counter them with some sort of positive affirmation. Thank you, 8 years in therapy, you did something. But, so that helped. And then, after a few months of this, I went back to the mirror, and I took another look at myself, and tried really, really, really hard to see, is there anything at all that I like about myself? And even though it was a ridiculously short list, there was a list. There was a list, guys. It may have been short, but I was like, there's things that I can actually hold on to now that I like about myself. There are not many. They are very, very few, but there are some. And I want that list to grow. So I've been very mindful to stay on this path since that day. And to be very careful about the people I let into my life, and about how close I let them in. As you guys know, one ex came back briefly into my life for a couple of months and then disappeared again, but it didn't take long before even he was starting kind of what had gone down before, where he was trying to dictate the way I ran my life. It's like, no, this isn't gonna work. It didn't work the first time. I shouldn't have known going in. It's not gonna work. So, for my own sanity, I think I never really let my guard down with him, And that's why I'm as okay as I am walking away from it. And that is a first. I mean, I have never been somebody who can just date casually. I can't do it. I get all emotionally invested. And I got to the root of why. Because I always felt so worthless myself that I would literally define myself by the person I was dating and wrap my entire existence around that person and wanting to make that person happy, trying to do anything to make them happy with me. That's not how it's supposed to work. I mean, to an extent, yeah, but it's not supposed to literally run your life. Because when you get into that mindset, if it falls apart, you fall the fuck apart. And you feel like you have nothing. And that is why it's been so devastating in the past whenever I've broken up with anyone. And this time, I'm like, oh my god, I literally just walked away. And that was it. I'm like, oh my god. That's kind of life-changing right there. I mean, I'm not proud that it didn't work, but I'm proud that I was able to walk away and not just crumble to pieces and be back at square one, be like, well, I just relapsed hard, but no, I didn't. I didn't. And again, you watch, he's gonna fucking show up at my house and yell at me for this, but, or something. Or at least lecture me. I don't care. Anyway. So, that was like just a little hiccup in the road because I saw glimmers of old traits trying to sneak back in. And I was like, wait, no. I see that starting. No. Got my sword back out. No. I'm mentally in my head having to view myself as a warrior battling these bad thoughts back. And that sounds so stupid and so immature, and you know what? I don't care. Because for me, apparently it seems to be effective, at least for now. So I'm going with it. I will go with whatever works. So, as long as it's not going to hurt anyone or anything in the process, including myself, that's all that really matters, right? So there's that. But yeah, it was just like, holy hell. I was able to stand on my own 2 feet through this. I was able to see my own value. I was able to see that, you know what, no. I value myself as a person enough to know that this isn't right, and I'm not doing this again. I don't think I got to say it to his face, but, I probably am now in a roundabout kind of way, but yeah, that. I know, long pauses, again, sleep deprived, but trying to be as cognizant as I can here. But yeah, like, just, it's so weird even being able to say the words that I can see the potential value I have as a human. First time ever. And now it's 33 years, and it was 32 last year. I'm 33 now, but yeah, I mean, I had this realization as well that, I may not ever be the most talented at anything that I do. And that's okay. I don't have to define myself by trying to be the best at it. But when I thought about the people who have mattered the most to me in my entire life, they all had one thing in common. They were kind people. And that kindness is the thing that always comes to mind first when I think of any of them. And just the way they made me feel. I'm making myself cry again because I miss them, but, I think in this world, that's such a rare commodity these days that kindness is enough. And I am a kind person. So, you know, that, there's value in that. There's value in that. Again, like, I may not be the best at anything, but I can be a nice person. And if other people think of me down the line and they remember the way I made them feel and I treated them with kindness, that's enough, I think. That's enough. Damn it, I said I wasn't gonna cry. I made myself cry. Sorry. I'm emotional. But, I swear I'm okay. I'm like really, really okay. I'm just emotional, but because it's an emotional topic. But yeah. And there's a lot to be said for that. There is. Because think about it, people nowadays are such assholes. Like, finding somebody who is truly a kind person, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. That's why the few really close friends I still have at this point, I cling to them for dear life. It's like, no, we just have to, like, weather this storm we call life together and just not let go, you know? So, that's a thing, and again, there's a lot of value in that, and I've come to appreciate that. And I've come to appreciate the value in brutal honesty. That's another trait that I possess. I mean, some may hate me for it, and that's okay. I'm not for everyone, and that is okay. I have come to terms with that. Not everyone's gonna like me. There is nothing I can do in this life that will ever make everyone like me. Even if somehow somebody waved a magic wand and made me the most talented person at something, at any one given thing, and I were the best in the world at that thing, there would still be people who don't like me. Therefore, I am okay with that thought. Because even though there's people who don't like me, there are people who do like me. So, that counters out the bad. And frankly, at the end of the day, the only ones that matter are the ones that do like you, because why the hell concern yourself with the negative people? You know? So I just choose to surround myself with people who do like me. I have cut ties with toxic people who just, all they ever wanted to do was bring me down. Fuck those people. I don't need that. I've had enough years of that in my life. I don't need that. I need people who will build me up, and I say that in the least egotistical way possible. People who will bring me up, not down. You know? And vice versa, that I can help bring them up and not down. So, again, there's that. There is a lot of value in that, too. And it's a much healthier way to be. I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't claim to be magically fixed. I'm not. I still have bipolar. I'm going to struggle with that my entire life, no matter what I do. Even when I'm financially able to go back to a therapist, even when I'm able to be medicated again. Bipolar's not a thing you cure. It's not. You don't cure depression. Just like my anxiety, it will never be cured. You learn to cope with it better over time. They give you more tools in your arsenal for coping, but you're never cured of it. And while on one hand that can feel like a hopeless thing, it also gives you permission to just accept it. You weather the storms, and then, you look at the fact that you're still here. You're still here. And I like that quote that's something along the lines of, you may feel right now like you cannot possibly survive this day, but so far in your life, you've had a 100% success rate of survival. And I think that's pretty good odds that you're gonna survive today, too. That quote I have clung to for dear life. When the dark thoughts have come back a few times, but it's never been at the point where I've acted on them again. I'm like, as long as I'm not at a point where I feel a need to act on them, I think I'm okay, because when they're just depressing thoughts, I can deal with that. I've dealt with that from birth. It sucks, but I mean, that's life. Nobody gets out of it scot-free. So, yeah, I can cope with it when it's just a sucky emotion. It's when it makes you feel compelled to do bad things that it's like, okay, now it's scary. Now I need some sort of help. Even if it's just somebody to listen to me, just talk it out. Because a lot of times, if I just talk it out, I'm good to go. And it's out of my system. I just need like a release valve of some sort. I just always feel bad putting that on anybody and making them listen to it. And this is another reason why I miss having a freaking therapist. But, But I mean, there is that hotline, which I don't want to call it too much and like get myself on a watch list. On the other hand, I mean, it is good to have it there in my arsenal of tools of coping. But but sometimes, yeah, sometimes all you need is to just talk it out and you feel better, at least better enough to move forward and not do anything. So there's that. I have more I wanted to say. Like, where did this derailed train go? In some ways, some people would probably look at me and look around me like, Jen, your life is a fucking mess. You are a mess. You are not okay. But it's like, you know what? I'm a great deal better than I was 1 year ago at this time, so I think I'm doing okay enough. It's always going to be some amount of self-improvement in progress. So that's all you can really do, you know? Is just try to take it one day at a time, sometimes view it 1 minute at a time if that's what it takes to get through, but yeah. So there is also that. I mean, I do like look around at the physical manifestation of my depression that is this room, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good, but could be worse. It's one of those things where with your own self-care you have to prioritize and take into account what's going to matter more to you today. Cleaning up a messy room or taking care of your mental health. I mean, I realize there is a correlation between the two, but you have to put the self-care first. Even when it feels selfish, you have to put your own self-care first, because in this world, nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And that's a thing where just that realization that even if my own freaking dad doesn't give a shit, I'm gonna give a shit. I'm gonna care. And I'm gonna take care of me. Because nobody else is gonna do it. So, that. Plus, when you expect somebody else to fix all your problems for you, you don't really grow as a person. It just hurt knowing that he apparently really wouldn't care if I lived or died. Just that still haunts me to this day. Not gonna lie, that hurts. That fucking hurts. Whereas my youngest sister, who apparently at some point became the favorite, she so much just gets a broken nail and he's at her beck and fucking call. I try and hang myself and rip a hole in the ceiling and here's a post-it note with a suicide hotline. Wow, okay. Yeah, that still hurts, but you can't make a person like you. You can't make a person feel something about you that they don't feel, so as sucky as it might be, you just have to deal with the hand you were dealt and cope with it the best you can and move forward and figure out what do you need in this moment to grow as a person. I know this sounds so hippy dippy bullshit. I know, but you know, honestly, for this sort of thing, yeah, it does kind of have to turn into hippy dippy bullshit just to do it. There is something to be said for that. So, yeah. It's not a perfect plan by any means. It's not a perfect system, but I don't think there's any clear-cut guidelines anybody has ever written out for how to learn to like yourself when you have zero self-esteem. So it's hard, and you kind of have to play it by ear and figure out what works for you, you know? So again, it's not a perfect system, and I have absolutely just played it by ear with whatever has logically made sense to me in my head in that moment, and just gone from there, really. So, I'm also glad that I didn't succeed that day, because if I had died, I would have died on Mickey Dolenz' birthday, and I would then forever and ever, for all eternity, have that tie to him. I do have to wonder if subconsciously something about that day, if maybe just how bitter I felt that even things with Dave had gone sour, even though that was like months prior. I think it was a year prior, actually. I'd have to go back and look. If that had anything to do with why that day of all days, or if it was just a total fluke. But, I still have to laugh at my lame ass self for, that day when I was on the phone with that hotline. Before they let me off the phone, they're like, I just want to hear at least one thing that you are looking forward to, even if it's something tiny, even if it's just a TV show you're looking forward to watching later today or tonight, just to know that there's something that you feel you should stick around for. And I was like, God, this is gonna sound so stupid, but yeah, I can't die today or I'll miss Liza Minnelli's birthday in 4 days. And my priorities, people, my priorities. Yeah. Oh, jeez, I keep knocking this down. I'm gonna put something on top of it so I stop doing that. There. Okay. My little checklist for my lip balm reviews keeps, like, blowing off of here every time I sigh real heavily, so I put something on it, but, yeah, the fact that I decided, okay, if nothing else, that'll be my reason to stick around, at least for now. Because in that moment, I still wasn't completely sold on the fact of, I don't know if I want to stick around, but I'm glad that I did. I know, I still, like, my tone sounds so depressed right now, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm just very tired. Oh, goodness. But, yeah. It's not one of those things that's easy to talk about, so it's just weird. But, and I feel like by admitting it, I'm somehow probably letting somebody down. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I have like this nagging, plaguing fear in the back of my mind that, oh god, the illusion has been ruined for some poor child that for some reason looked up to me and now I'm a failure. But I'm trying to be like, nope, nope, don't you entertain that thought. No. I'm trying really hard not to, but, and that's why I didn't just go, screw it, don't make the video. No, I'm making the video because I know that there are a lot of you guys who are subscribed to my channel who also deal with depression, who also deal with the black veil of suicidal tendencies, of just mental illness in general. And it's like, nobody likes to talk about this stuff, but it needs to be talked about so that people don't feel as alone when they're going through it. Yesterday on Twitter, actually, oh, what was it that was trending that I took out of context because I didn't look at it first before just jumping in? It was, what was it? I think it was like hashtag reasons I'm still here or something. It was something along those lines. Or why I'm still here. Or just I'm still here. It was something involving I'm still here because. That's what it was. I'm still here because. And I was like, that's almost really eerie timing for that to be trending. Because this is only one day off from the anniversary of my trying to off myself. But I am still here. And I'm glad that I'm still here. And then I clicked on it, I realized, oh, they're just talking about Twitter as a platform. Oops. I felt like a dumbass, so I'm like, sorry for being a buzzkill with that. I didn't look at what people were tweeting under this tag first and just kinda jumped in. And one person on there that follows me was just like, no, you weren't a buzzkill. I'm actually in the middle of a depressive episode right now, and this was hopeful. I was like, okay, see, that right there is validation enough that it's worth talking about. Because I think I was still on the fence about whether or not to make this video yesterday, until that was like, okay, That's validation to make this. But yeah, I can't claim to have all the answers. I can't claim to be able to fix anybody, but I'm at least trying to work on trying to fix myself as best I can. Trying to pick up all the shattered and scattered pieces of myself from over the course of my life that has been broken and broken some more and ground into dust and jumped on by other people over and over and over and over since I was born. And trying to pick up those pieces and slowly glue them back together into something whole. I mean, I think, oh god, is it Japan or China who does that thing where pottery is actually considered more beautiful after it's been broken and they like glue it back together with like gold and then they view it as more beautiful for that? I kind of feel like the human equivalent of that, in that I am slowly putting myself back together and that all these cracks are the gold that's gluing me back together. And I may be broken, I may be a very damaged person, but I'm still here. I still have a purpose. I may not know what it is, but I still have one, clearly, because I'm still here at this point. It practically defies logic and science that I'm still here after so many close calls. It makes me really, really wonder about reincarnation. If I was a cat, I mean, especially for how much cats have always been a thing in my life. Was I a cat? I might have been a cat with the 9 lives and all. Don't know how many I've used up at this point, but it's like, you know, there's something to that. Should probably be more careful because I don't know how many are left. Let's not waste the ones you got left. You know, yeah, especially with how precarious my health is and always has been. It's like, yeah, let's not dick around with those because I probably am gonna need those next time my health starts to tank again. Because we all know it will. It always does. I've had way too many close calls with my health over my life since I was literally 2 weeks old. I mean, I've told this story before that I almost died less than a month old because I got friggin' pneumonia, and I've had lung problems my whole life ever since. I was born with a heart defect. There was that. I've had my scares with the C word. I've had mystery illnesses where I'm just sick for months at a time and even specialists can't figure out what the hell's wrong with me, and I lose crap tons of weight and no one knows what the hell's going on, myself included, and then it just goes away one day. It's like, there's probably something underlying that nobody's diagnosed. You watch it be frigging lupus, because I'm a fan of House, and it's never lupus. Yeah, watch for me, because I've quoted that damn line so many times. Just karmically, I actually would not be surprised, because there's a lot of things that line up. I'm like, oh, please don't be that, but yeah, I've never actually been sent to a rheumatologist, so. But every doctor I've been to can tell that there's something off with my autoimmune system. They just don't know what. So, could be that. Could be a lot of things, but I'm still here. Again, defying science and defying logic, but I am still here. So there is that. But I'm glad that I'm still here. Even as a broken-ass person, even as a person with many problems all the damn time, who's virtually always sick, I'm still glad that I'm still here. Because I think that I do have some sort of value to other people for the first time ever. And I probably always did and just didn't see it. I actually texted my best friend about this and just how far I've come with this. She's like, dude, I've been trying to tell you that for years and you never wanted to hear it. I'm glad that you're finally starting to see the awesome person I've always been able to see. And that just made me cry buckets. But yeah, but it's just like when I finally like dug down past all the bullshit. Damn it, really? Again? When I started digging past all the bull crap that I started to be for other people and got back down to who I am and got back down to little Jenn and started trying to fix the hurts of myself that have been just tamped down for years and years and years and years. And just get to the root of those. I figure that's probably where a lot of it stems from, is all the hurts that had to go unspoken and untalked about and just buried for so many years. A lot of it, no doubt, comes from there. So if I can get down to there and work on that, a lot of things are probably going to fall into place. And you know what? They have. I can't claim to be cured, can't claim to be fixed, but I have seen vast improvements just since I started hitting on those. I was just like, I could tell the second I finally hit something that struck a nerve and was like, that's it. That's what I have to work on. Because lots of it was like thinking about shit was just like, yeah, I mean, that sucked. I went through. That sucked. I went through. And then the one that just rattled me, like, as soon as I even started thinking about it again, it's like, ding, 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 ding. Here we go. This is something to try and work through right there. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna suck, but gotta do it. So, still in that process, but it helps. And there have been several things like that I have gotten down to the roots of where it's like, ooh, okay, didn't see that coming, didn't know this was the thing we were going to deal with today, but okay, alright, now I've got, again, something else to work with, alright? It's not a one-day process by any means, but I've got something to work with, so there's that. A lot of them are very, very personal. There's a few of you who know some of the stuff that I'm talking about. Some of it I don't think I have ever talked about. Or if I did, I was so vague about it to where it's anybody's guess. But I want to get to a point where I can eventually feel open enough to talk about it and have dealt with it enough myself to where I can talk about it freely as a thing that happened and not have all this shame about it and not have all this just pent-up hurt still around it. Yeah. A lot of it stems from childhood stuff. Yeah. And I know that some of you know exactly what I'm talking about on some of it, but there is some of it that just I still can't bring myself to tell other people about. I feel really shitty for that because I'm such an open book on so many levels, but there's still a few things where I'm like, I can't do it yet. But that's already improvement that I say I can't do it yet. Not just I can't do it, period. Because that tells me that even my subconscious has grappled onto this idea that I want to work through it enough to get to where I can. I'm just not there yet. So there's some amount of personal growth that has gone on in this past year, quite a bit, I think. I mean, again, like, you look at traditionally what expectations are for what a 33-year-old should be doing in life and where she should be, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fuck that. Not worrying about that right now. Those are societal expectations anyway, and therefore they're bullshit, in my opinion. But, sorry. But given how much stuff went unresolved for so long, it's like, yeah, I really, really need to work on these, because if I don't work on these, I'm never going to be able to move forward, because I know so much stuff stems from these. So, there's that. God, I just got goosebumps thinking about it and chills. I'm like, I don't like thinking about those things, but it's one of those things where to move forward, it's gotta be done. So, sucks, but again, has to be done. And I started a project late last year that was trying to work through this, and subsequently also in a way where I could talk about it. I did not finish it. I did not get very far in it. Because I kind of just triggered myself so hard. I was like, nope, not ready yet. But basically, this project consisted of, well, I mean, it was inspired by some of those videos where it's like, advice to my younger self. And I was like, what if I wrote letters to my younger self as if there were some way that they could travel back through time to my younger self? And I was like, what if I did one for every single year of my life? For what I think my younger self needed to hear at that point in time. And even that thought alone just felt very therapeutic. Even thinking that, so I was like, okay, I think I'm onto something here. I should do this. I got as far as the first one for little baby newborn me and couldn't even finish it because I got myself so upset. Which is so dumb. I'm like, not that much bad shit had happened to me yet as a baby. Come on, what the hell? I mean, stemming abandonment issues had already started as a baby, but none of the really bad shit I don't think it started yet. So I'm like, what the crap? Why am I already... Like, I wasn't expecting to get triggered that hard till I got to, like, age 2 or 3. Or, like, the sexual abuse started, but, yeah, that. So, the fact that I got, like, just into the first one, I got about 3 pages in, it was like, I can't do this. I just panicked and didn't go back to this idea. I'm like, oh, I suck. Like, I figured I'm gonna make it not only be a thing, I'm gonna make it be my NaNoWriMo project. You know, the thing where you have to write 50,000 words in a month during November. Yeah, that. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. And then I was like, yeah, okay, rushing it is definitely not going to make it happen, and I don't think it'll be as therapeutic that way. It needs to happen on its own terms, in its own time, when I feel ready to go there. But then part 2 of this project was going to be, as I complete each one, I read it on camera and post it to YouTube. I feel like you'd probably learn a lot about me through these because there's so much crap. But, yeah, it was one of those things where I think I got torn between knowing that that was part 2 of this project and being like, oh god, I'm gonna be judged so hard. People are gonna be like, you're like a toxic waste dump of a person, just to be harboring all that. Just go away. I feel like that pretty often, but I'm still grappling with those feelings too. But not gonna lie, but that's nothing new. That's been a lifelong thing. I mean, even back when I used to blog when I was a teenager, I don't think I ever got more than about maybe 17 or 18 followers at any given time because my shit was just so dark and so painful all the time that nobody could stand to read it. They're like, you're just like a little rain cloud that never clears up. Like, what the hell? It's like, this is my life, guys. That's really not nice of you to say. And that kind of just instilled this thought in my head that, yeah, nobody wants to hear about your crap, Jen. Shut up about your crap, Jen. Tamp it down, Jen. But, yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, well, on one hand, I still feel like that's true. On the other hand, I feel like this might be the correct time. This might be the correct medium. Because it's not just dark words on a page. There's an actual human attached to these words. So maybe that restores the human element to it, and people are realizing there is an actual person hurting behind these words. It's not just words on a page of some little emo teenager. There's an actual person tied to this. Which I think was a lot of the problem back when I still blogged, and largely why I stopped blogging. And then I tried to blog again in my 20s. I had a book review blog, which I eventually just bailed on because literally nobody read it. I think it got like 3 followers ever. And I was like, oh, well, this was stupid. This was a complete waste of my time. But, there's that. I had one for just sharing creative writing pieces that I had done on my own time. That got literally no followers, so that just told me that I suck on that level too. And then I tried to run a personal one again. I think one person from Facebook followed me out of pity. I don't think she ever read anything, but I was like, oh, okay. Alright. Duly noted. No one wants to hear about my shit on any possible thing. I think that's part of why I find YouTube is just rewarding as I do, is that there's actually people here who listen to me. They may not be very many in the grand scheme of YouTube as a platform, but you know what? I'm very grateful for those of you that do. Like, really, really grateful, because I feel like most of my life I've just been ignored anywhere that I go that I try to open up about things, so. Yeah, so eventually, if I complete those, that will be a thing here. I have no idea when that will be. I have no idea how long of periods there will be between each piece. I mean, if just that first one of literal newborn me had me that triggered, I'm just like, what the shit? Oh, I am in for a bumpy ride. It could be like a literal years and years long project trying to get this done, but yeah. That. But still, I think even so, it feels like it's worth doing. Even if nobody watches them at all, just for me, it feels worth doing. I can't really explain why, but it does, so that may be a thing in the future. So, there's that. I'm trying to think of how else I've grown since last year at this time when I decided I'm gonna try to learn to like myself. Oh yeah, kind of the most important one. Boy, I'm dumb. But, as I started getting down to the roots of some of these things and stripping off all the layers of shit, I'm like, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me either. Nope, that's not. That one is. That one can be. That one's not. That one is. Okay. And figuring this out and sorting this out. Sorry, my hair is gross and it's bothering me. I started realizing that the things that are there, that are me, like legitimately me, they're not so bad. The person that is me is not a bad person. I'm actually a pretty good person, which, again, I feel like full of myself saying that. I feel like you shouldn't be saying that because you just sound like you have an ego problem, but again, trying to fight back the urge to not let myself have positive thoughts about myself, but realizing that not only do I have value, but there are things that are likable about me. I mean, I still have a hard time identifying them and pinpointing them, but the fact that there are any at all, again, for the first time in my life, that speaks volumes too. Oh god, again, lost a train of thought. Fucking sleep deprivation, I swear. I am almost done with that scarf, so I am almost at a point where I'm allowed to sleep normally again. Because then once it's just the other order, so I won't be so backlogged. But anyway, deep breath. Trying to clear my very distracted brain. But yeah, when I started finding things that are genuinely me and started piecing them together as the person that is me, I'm like, you know, she's not so bad. Why did I always hate her so much? Not only that, but finding certain aspects of myself that I didn't realize were under there, like at all. I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, wait, really? Like, when I get down to the root of it, I have a feminine side. I've, like, just instinctively been a tomboy for so much of my life that I'm like, wait, there's a femme side under there? Where the hell has that been hiding? Is it raining? Hold on. I'm sorry, I know, I'm like Little Miss easily distractible, but is it raining? Hold on. Sorry. Like, this is gonna make me nuts if I don't know. I have to know. I don't know, I have to know. I have to know. Is it raining? It might be. Okay. So it's like, is that rain I hear? Or is that my computer going AWOL with the fan? Because if it was the computer, it's like, I may have to move that. But if it's rain, then okay, carry on. Okay, so, yeah, finding out there's, like, a feminine side under there who doesn't hate dresses as much as I thought I always did. When I'm allowed to pick them, I apparently don't hate them so much. Similarly, when it comes to makeup, apparently there is a part of me under there that enjoys it. That I'm finding out. Not that I wear it very often, but apparently I do, on some level, enjoy it. Like, I think I started realizing this when I started getting back into the nail polish thing. It was like, I forgot how much I freaking adored nail polish. And then thought about the age I was when I stopped wearing it, and that fucking first girlfriend broke me of it. I think she's the reason why I went all tomboy. Well, at least part of it. I think part of it was already in play, but she, like, broke me of the rest of any femminess that I had. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, I forgot. I had completely forgotten about that part of myself. Like, I had probably 3 shoeboxes full of different colors of nail polish. I had, like, this goal to have every color under the sun in a nail polish when I was, like, around age 10 to 14. And then 15 came along with that first girlfriend, and suddenly somebody no longer wore it. At all. I was like, oh, okay. Because she wanted to be the femme, and clearly there can only be one femme in a relationship with 2 girls, don't you know? God forbid they both be butch or both be femme, but yeah. Yeah. When I got down to the base of it, I was like, oh my god, I've pinpointed it. And I used to enjoy that, and I gave that up just because of that? That's so stupid! What the hell? And I think that's, like, really re-sparked my buying nail polishes again. Because it's like, I forgot how much I liked it. Oh, hold on. Whoa. Okay, so update, unrelated to this, Burt's Bees just wrote back, and they confirmed this is not supposed to look like this. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I just saw a little message pop up. So, anywho's, but yeah, the fact that I gave that up for her and totally lost sight of it and didn't even, like, cognitively, or consciously is the word I'm looking for, consciously realize that I did it because of her and just never ever came back to it again. I was like, that's stupid. What the hell, self? Come on. If you enjoy it, you do you. So that was when I bought myself my Breakfast at Tiffany's set, and I started wearing them one by one. I was just like, I forgot how much I love this. I adore having painted nails, and I am unashamed to say so. You know what? It may be about the little things, but you know, if this makes me happy, then goddamn it, I'm gonna do it. And I still need to do my other hand. But, I did this before I went to bed. I have to, like, do another layer of top coat on this one, because I fell asleep when it was still slightly wet, and there's, like, hair lines in it, because I fell asleep on my hand. I don't care. It's fine. It's a dark color, so at least, like, the lines don't show up like it would if it were light. I feel them, so I'm gonna put another layer of top coat over that one. The other 4 are fine, though. It's just, sorry, but, I forgot how much I enjoyed that. So, I got back to my roots and was like, I'm going to re-embrace that. And as long as it still feels right, I'm going to continue to do that. And it forces me to take some time for me and gives me something where it's like, I feel a little bit pretty for having these. And as somebody who has, most of my life, always felt ugly, and I mean, again, there's nothing you could say to me about my appearance negatively that I haven't already thought myself and heard 10 million times from other people, so I mean, just saying, I'm probably way more brutal than anything you guys will come up with, but, especially about this, but, I've heard it all. And these, I know. And my ugly hair, I know. Just saying. And my stupid messed up eyebrow that's just wonky. Yeah, I know. I'm aware of all of it. And yet, I think over the past year, I've come to a point where I'm like, you know what? That's just what I look like. And I may never be a raving beauty. It's okay. It's okay. It's still me. That's who I was born as. I don't have the money to go through plastic surgery, so why torture myself agonizing over my appearance every single day, every time I look in the mirror? When it's like, wouldn't it be easier just to accept it and move forward? And just stop fighting all the negative thoughts about your appearance every time you look at yourself? Yeah, I guess so. As stupid as it sounds, yeah. Another thing that took me 32 years of my life to come to grips with. And I can't claim that I'm all the way there. It's still a process, and there's still days like today where I feel like more of a mess than others, but ooh, sorry. That did not help. But where it just I feel gross, but then I mean I take the time to shower, wash my hair, blow dry my hair, straighten the hair. It's just like, you know, even just something as simple as that makes a big difference in my feeling not as much garbage of a person. So if I can take the time to do that, and that makes that big of a difference, if I took the time to put on even just a little bit of makeup, how much difference would that make? And even the days where the only makeup I might put on is like just mascara, I feel so much better about myself. And that sounds so stupid and so superficial, I know. But you know what? If it makes that big a difference to where I feel good about myself and I feel like I'm at least a little bit pretty, at least my eyes look nice, then you know what? It's worth it. It's worth the $8 for a tube of mascara then, you know? Results may vary with the other makeup, but with the mascara, I mean, I like making my eyes look bigger. It helps offset this here when the eyes look bigger. I mean, at least proportionally, my mouth is okay, but the nose, it's proportionally too big for my face. I know, there's nothing I can do about that. So, even if I could, I don't know that I would at this point. Being completely honest, seeing the process that goes into a nose job and just how much work they would have to do to really narrow this down and shave that down, I'm just like, you know what? No. Fuck it. No. Yeah, I would have the potential to actually be cute if it weren't for the nose, but no. I don't want to go through all that. That is completely unnecessary when I could just make peace with my appearance and not go through that. And all the pain, and all the suffering, and probably even more sinus issues than I'm already prone to having in the first place. And keep all the money that I would have wasted on a nose job and spend it on something better, you know? Just a thought. So there's that. And again, it's not perfect. I don't feel great about my appearance, but I'm at a point where I can walk past a mirror and not be like, ew, every time I walk past, which, yeah, that sounds like an exaggeration, but no. No. That's how shitty people were to me all throughout school, to where they had me convinced that that is how disgusting my face is to look at, to where I shouldn't even look at it in a mirror because it's just so horrible. Yeah. And again, I've made peace with the fact that I'm not pretty and I'm never gonna be pretty, and you know what? That's fine. It's fine. I can make do with what I have and try to just make it work a little better, but you know, not everyone on the planet is going to be a raving beauty, myself included. So that's okay. Because for as ugly as I might think my face is, there's way worse out there. That sounds so terrible to admit, but it's just like, it's kind of like the thing of, you can be having a real shitty day, but there's still somebody somewhere in the world that's having a worse day than you. It's kind of the same logic, and I feel really, really bad admitting that that's part of how I've come to peace with my face, but it's like, you know what? It's not the worst one on the planet. It could be a lot worse. So, I know, you're all like, Jen, you are a terrible, terrible person saying that, and maybe I am, but if that's what it took just to get to where I can make some peace with the way I look, so I'm not focusing all my energy just worrying about how I look instead of actual important shit in life, then okay. Because I'm not, like, going out of my way to single out, like, a specific person that I think I look better than. No, it's not like that. This is just, like, an abstract thought of, I'm sure that for as horrible as I look compared to pretty people, there's just as many people out there somewhere that I look better than, so that makes me average. Average is okay, right? I can deal with average. Most of my grades were just average. I can deal with average. Even if I'm only like a C level, you know, that's still passing. That's passable. So there's that. But the big one has been trying to just not define myself by relationships. That was the whole point of the rule of no dating last year, even though towards the end of it kind of careened off the rails in like November. I went most of the year. But I did find that by forcing myself to not be in one and to not define myself by being in one, that it did force myself to actually make peace with me, and that I'm okay. I'm okay. Again, not great, but I'm alright, I think. And I don't need to define myself by somebody else. And that's okay. I mean, that's part of why I had to just be very careful when that one ex came back into my life, because I was like, I see potential where I could backslide, and I don't want to backslide. I've come too far to backslide. That right there, though, I'm like, that's confidence in itself, too, that I can acknowledge that I've come a long way in just 1 year. If I've come that way in 1 year, imagine where I will be next year at this point, right? Just by sheer logic. And the year after that, just, I feel like I'm actually making positive growth instead of negative growth for once. And that's a good feeling. And I'm not used to feeling good about myself, but it's nice. I like it. And I kind of like me. And I'm like, thinking of all the times that I've like hurt myself, that kind of hurts my soul now, thinking, God, you're so cruel to her. I mean, this is also bad that I'm like almost thinking of it as another person, but I forget who pointed it out, but it's like, you would never treat your best friend the way that you treat yourself. Why is it that you can't show yourself the same kindness that you would show to another person? So for a while, I had to almost think of myself as if I were another person, how I would act towards that person, and go from there. Again, not schizo, not multiple personalities or anything. I still know it's still me at the end of the day, but just to reframe it that way to where I can think about it in a different light, that made a big difference initially. At this point, I can just accept it being me, but right off the bat, for a while, for probably the first 6 or so months of it, I did have to almost think about it as if I were a different person and how I would act, because just with me, I mean, I'm freaking worthless. I don't deserve nice things, but I don't deserve nice treatment. But once I got into the mindset of accepting that I am a good person, I do deserve nice things, and I do deserve to be loved, and I do deserve people to treat me with the same kindness that I afford other people. That was a big step, and that was a big cornerstone to build upon once I got my brain around that. So there's that. It's still a process. I'm still in the process of trying to learn to constantly be nicer to myself, because I'm still very self-deprecating. I probably always will be to some degree. That's just a thing, but if I can at least be at a point where, at the end of the day, I do like who I am, And I think I'm a good person. I think that's really the goal. So it's just like, if this were somebody else, I wouldn't want to hurt them. So therefore, why would I want to hurt me? I think that's probably the Capricorn part of my brain, in having to look at it logically to make it make sense. But I did make it make sense to myself, and it was like, oh my god, that's right. Why am I like that to myself? And had to do some soul searching on that too, and there's reasons and all, and it's like, okay, well, those reasons you came up with are stupid and null and void and no longer apply at this point in your life. Therefore, why are you still stuck on this track? Move the track. And again, it's a process. It does not happen overnight. You have to really consciously work at changing the way you think about these things, especially when they pertain to yourself. It's hard. It's very hard to do, but it's possible. Because I'm doing it. I can speak from firsthand experience that it is possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. The more work you put into it, the more you get out of it. So, yeah. Oh, goodness. But, also in this whole just year of self-growth, I've learned to try and look for the silver linings of situations more, of everything. Which, I mean, I did that to some degree before, but not as much as I really should have. Now I try to find the silver lining in frigging anything and everything. Which is funny that I didn't do more of this sooner, especially as a Judy Garland fan. She had that song, Look for the Silver Lining. I mean, come on, stupid, do the thing. But, yeah, but I do that now. And, like, even with the whole situation 1 year ago from today, if it hadn't have been for that failing, much less. Well, A, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't have failed, but B, if that situation hadn't happened at all, I don't know that I would have been making any of these changes, trying to learn to like myself and to accept myself and to make personal growth happen and to try to learn to like me for who I am and realize that I'm valuable. And again, I still have that nagging thought of, God, you sound so fully or something. I'm like, no, this is the healthy mindset. The other was unhealthy. This is a healthier mindset, is to realize that you have value. It's not selfish. It's selfish if you're, like, literally all wrapped up in yourself 24/7 and that's all you're doing, but that's not it here. That's not this. So, but yeah. So that is the silver lining, is that this personal growth wouldn't have happened had I not have had not only that mental break, but just that realization that if no one else in the world is going to care about me, then I'm going to care about me. Because somebody has to care about me, and who better than me? Because at the end of the day, the only person that will be with you from literally the moment you are born to the moment you die is yourself. I mean, other people will come and go, your family, not all of them are going to live your whole life. Some of them are going to outlive you, but they may not be with you when you go. So, I mean, literally, the only person who will be with you from the time you are born till the time you die is you. So, therefore, shouldn't you learn to like yourself, and shouldn't you learn to be your own biggest advocate? And you have to be able to learn to make peace with yourself and to try to like yourself and to be kind to yourself and afford yourself needed self-care and everything. I know, it sounds so basic and obvious and common logic, and this is the same sort of shit I would have told anybody else. But apparently for me it's different, and it took until this for me to be able to accept it for me. But I mean, if any good could have come out of that situation, I'm glad something came out of it rather than it just being another tally of things I have fucked up at in my life or fucked up things I've done in my life. You know, at least some amount of good came out of it. Actually, quite a bit of good came out of it. Would I recommend that being the mode of having that sort of epiphany? No. No, you can absolutely come to that conclusion without having something like that happen. I wish mine hadn't have had to have happened that way, but apparently I needed a big kick in the ass to make myself just realize it and actually do it. But because yeah, not everybody's gonna like you, even in your own family. As shitty as it is to say, not everybody's gonna like you. And you gotta make peace with that. And you gotta learn to like yourself instead. Because as long as you like you, the opinions of other people aren't going to bother you anywhere near as badly. I mean, they'll still bother you some, not gonna lie, but they're not gonna completely devastate you the way that they would if you don't value yourself and you're putting your own value in the way other people perceive you. So, I think I've kind of run out of steam in this, and this is like an hour and a half long. I've probably lost most of you by this point, but maybe some of you stuck around to the end. And if you did, thank you for that. I appreciate it, because this was a hard video for me to make and to just talk openly and frankly about. So, onward and upward, right? That is the way I gotta look at things. That I hit a rock bottom. It can only go up from there. And I have come up quite a bit from there. I mean, in some respects, I'm still clawing my way out, but there's a lot of things where it's like, I am doing so freaking much better than I was a year ago. So, I mean, I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I'm not currently in a bipolar phase of either half of it. I'm just okay right now. That's kind of how the disease works, where there's long periods where there's really nothing with it, and then there's an episode and you deal with it. But like I said, most of the time for me it's just bad feelings and I can cope with them without bad coming from them. But that was a weird one, because it was the first one in so many years to have gotten that bad, and it scared the crap out of me, because I was like, what the hell? What brought that on? Why now of all times? What just happened? I mean, that was like within a day or two after. I was already having this realization of what the fuck was that? Come on, self, come on. You're beyond that. You don't gotta be like that. It doesn't need to be that way. That's like teenager you like coming back out to play. No. We're not going back down that road. Cause at least in the teen years there was plenty of shit I could blame that stuff on that made sense. At this point in my life there is not. So it's like, no. We can cope better than that at this point. Why am I saying we? I can cope better than that at this point. I have more tools at my disposal for coping. It just sucks that that one was that intense and just that thunderclap quickly. Because usually the manic part isn't quite so high, and it doesn't come careening down quite as fast. So when it's more gradual, I see it coming and I can brace myself for it, and I'm ready to tackle it head on and not do anything bad, and just do whatever self-care I need to get through the storm and come out the other side unscathed. But that one, it was too fast. I didn't have time to emotionally grab on and just hold on and ride it out, because that is like the best metaphor I can use for what bipolar is like. It's like you are on a perpetual roller coaster your whole friggin' life. And a lot of it, you're just kind of cruising. It's like, you don't know when the next hill is, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, here we go, didn't see it coming, oh crap, there's no way jumping off, oh crap, and then you turn the other side, and once you hit that bottom, it hits hard, and then you come back out the other side, and you're cruising again. And if you can make it as far as cruising again, you're doing good. You made it through the storm. It's just weathering it while you're coming down that other side and you hit the bottom. Because it's not as smooth as on a roller coaster where you hit the bottom and you keep going. No, there's like some impact that hits and then you keep going. But yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. But yeah, usually it's much smaller hills for me that happen about every 6 months, and they suck, but I live and I go through them, and usually I don't lay a hand on myself during those. I don't actually do anything bad. Like 9 times out of 10. This was one rare instance where I was like, oh shit, what the hell was that? So we are not doing that again. Oh boy, but in hindsight, just thinking about that. Logically now that my head is clear, I mean, that's also part of it, is that when you're in those periods, you are not thinking clearly. You are not thinking logically. The fact that I thought that would work from a light fixture, a glass light fixture, in a sheetrock ceiling. In any other period, I would have been like, you're just gonna break the fucking ceiling, dumbass. I wasn't even thinking clearly enough to think of that at that point. Yeah. So, I mean, I had a friend in high school that had a couple similar instances that I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to name how exactly she went about it, but I think it was the same sort of thing where she probably could relate of just, yeah, in hindsight, don't know why I thought that would work, but in the moment, it made sense. But, yeah. In hindsight, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, that. So, that was a thing. That is a thing I can add to life experiences of things I have done, I guess. Not proud of it by any means. Pretty ashamed of it, really, but again, there is a silver lining that good came out of it in a weird sideways way, but good end up coming of it. Again, I am not condoning doing that by any means. Like, if you can, go seek help if you feel like you need that kind of help. I mean, hell, come talk to me if you need to. If you have absolutely no one else to talk to and you're not brave enough to, like, call that number, or you're, like, scared that, like, they'll send someone for you, which, for the record, they did not. Because, like, if you tell them that you're, like, at a 10 and you're planning on doing it, yeah, they probably will, but if you just need to be talked down, they'll just talk you down. They won't send anybody after you. You're okay. As long as you're being honest that you're not going to do anything, they won't send anybody off after you. They will just talk you down to a calmer place. And apparently you can actually also call those hotlines even if you're not in a suicidal crisis, just in some kind of mental crisis and need someone to talk to, or even if you're just having a panic attack and need somebody to talk you down out of your panic attack. You apparently... That was one good thing. That girl told me that you can call even if you're not suicidal, like if you're having a panic attack or something. Like, that's kind of nice to know. I mean, you'd like eventually reach a point where you exhaust telling other people what you're going through in your panic attacks, and it's kind of nice knowing that there's somebody who's not going to judge you in needing to be talked down out of said panic attack. So, kind of nice to know that that is another thing you can use those for. So, just throwing it out there in case anybody needs that relevant info, that you can call them over that, and they're not going to do anything big or scary to you for it. They're just going to talk to you is all. But similarly, like, if need be, if you're too scared to call them and you have no way of getting help, but you just want somebody to talk to, like, message me, please. I will talk to you. I may not be able to get to it immediately. Please don't get mad at me if I can't get to it immediately. I will do my best. But if you are, like, in crisis mode and just need someone to vent to, I have definitely lived these waters many, many times. I know these ropes. I will talk to you. I may not be able to fix anything for you, but I'll listen at least. So, inbox is open. You can DM me on Instagram, you can email me, you can message me here, you can even leave it as a comment, and other people may jump in and try to help too. You can Facebook message me, through the fan page, through the personal page. It doesn't really matter. You can do it. There's a better chance of me seeing it if you do it through the Facebook page, because if you're not friended to me on Facebook, it'll get stuck in, like, the spammy side where I don't even see it pop up unless I manually go over there, and I almost never think to go over there. So I wouldn't rely on messaging the personal Facebook unless you're somebody who's friended to me on there. But you can message the Facebook fan page. You can DM me on Instagram. You can DM me on Twitter. You can leave a comment here. There are options. I'll do my best. But again, I am not a professional by any means. I'm just somebody who has unfortunately lived through this over and over and over again. So I kind of know the waters well, but I'll do my best. Because I feel like I should pay it forward for the people who've talked me down out of these things. But I would also recommend the hotlines too, if you need somebody that second. Because, yeah, I am not always glued to the computer, believe it or not, and I don't have a smartphone, so if I'm not at home, I don't have access to these things. So if you are in that big of a crisis, please call the hotlines. Just Google it for whatever country you're in. They have them for almost every country. So, anyways, kind of babbling at this point. I went on for another 10 minutes beyond when I was going to wrap this up, so gotta wrap this up. So anyways, yeah, again, onward and upward to bigger and better things. It's a nice day. Even with it raining out, it's still a nice day. It's a lot better than last year at this time. I'm feeling a lot better than last year at this time, so a lot of things are going better than last year at this time, so I'm very grateful for all of that. And I'm grateful for all of you who took the time to listen to me talk about this, and for anyone who can firsthand relate to this, hopefully on some level, maybe some of this resonated with you and was helpful to you in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just in knowing that you're not alone in these feelings, that lots of us deal with these things. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and let you guys go. I'll be back later with a review. I don't know if I'll do another video on top of that, because this is a pretty lengthy one, so... and I still have to do all that Etsy shit, so... yeah, I'm still backlogged. Anyways, yes. So, if you like this video, go ahead, hit that like button. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe. Leave comments down below. You can tell me about your similar experiences if you've gone through anything like this, or if you went through a similar journey of trying to learn to like yourself and build self-esteem, self-confidence. Please let me know how you did it, because I am always up to hearing how anybody else managed to do the thing, so anything from that I feel might be useful for me, I might be able to take from that. But yeah, or anything else if you like leaving me. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, they're listed down below, and if you're not already... messing up my own sign-off. If you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is in the description. That's what I meant to say. So, anyway, guys, till next time. Bye-bye.